Well, he's back. Ryan Garcia makes his return to the ring as he's headlining a card in Times Square on May 2nd. A huge card that also includes fighters like Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez, also on the card. The undercard, of course, as Ryan Garcia is headlining this mega event in the middle of Times Square as he's coming off of a suspension. We'll talk about that. Obviously, his last fight against Devin Haney, the controversy, everything that surrounded that fight. He's back in the ring. His opponent, a familiar foe, Rolly Romero. While some say, hey, he doesn't deserve this shot, he hasn't performed well in these high level fights. We're here, and we're going to see Ryan versus Rolly in Times Square on May 2nd. It's a fight that, honestly, when it was announced, we all thought a lot of theatrics, whether it came to the press conferences or everything. But the way we've seen Ryan, especially these first two press conferences that happened about a month ago, talking and building up this fight, this isn't the Ryan that went against Devin Haney that people said, hey, is he actually crazy? No, this has been a subdued Ryan who looks to be in the gym training hard with trainer Derek James as he's looking to make a statement on May 2nd and set up that Devin Haney rematch potentially in October in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. For Ryan, what's he going to look like? Coming off a huge fight against Devin Haney. He's been out of the ring for a year. What is he going to look like for Rolly Romero? He has not been able to rise to the occasion of these big fights. Will he be able to do that and maybe give Ryan a little too much to handle in his return fight? We'll talk about it all here on the Never Drop podcast. I'm Luke Backman. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this video. Let me know who you think will win this fight. But let's talk about this fight right now. Ryan Garcia, obviously one of the biggest names in the sport of boxing. 24-1 with 20 knockouts. Obviously, his last fight was that Devin Haney no contest. If you remember, he won by majority decision originally, knocking down Devin Haney 3 times. Then it was found out a few weeks later, hey, he had some Osterin in his system, steroids. It said, nope, fight is a no contest. A lot has transpired since then. Devin Haney's team suing Ryan, rematch being on, being off, being back on, lawsuit being on, off, on, off. A lot of things have happened outside of the ring. But for Ryan Garcia, he's just trying to get back inside of the ring for this big fight and this huge event. Right, he's proved himself after that Gervonta Tank Davis loss a couple years ago, where a lot of people still say the rehydration clause is the only reason he lost. Ryan has gone from being a 135-pounder now in this fight to being 147. He's a bigger guy. The weight should suit him well. This seems to be everything aligning for Ryan Garcia. I talked about it. He seemed much more tamer at these press conferences. Everyone thought, hey, Ryan, Rolly, Devin, and Teofimo all on stage for these press conferences, building up this fight. This was going to be insanity. There was a few back and forths between Teofimo and whoever, but Ryan Garcia really was, hey, I can't wait to get back from suspension. I have a job to do. Then I got a rematch in October. He's been all business. Nothing like we saw last year in April when this big, huge fight against Devin Haney was playing out, and people are like, there's no way he makes it to fight night. It's been impressive to see, and if this is the Ryan Garcia that's locked in, I mean, he looks scary. I've seen some training videos, just some footage from an opening workout. Again, back with Derek James. There's talks about he was going to go to Eddie Reynoso's camp. No, he's back with Derek James. I know Derek James has taken some L's with his fighters, but I think he's a great fundamental coach and exactly, honestly, what Ryan needs, because you can't teach the left hook he has, but you can always improve those fundamentals, and I think Derek James can do that for a fighter, especially like Ryan Garcia. And for him, he's going against Rolly Romero. Talk about someone who you can throw the fundamentals out of the building for Rolly Romero. As I remember when he fought Tank a few years ago, Tank said, no, he's not an awkward fighter. He's a BS fighter, right? Like, he doesn't have an awkward skill set. He just fights. But with Rolly, his biggest thing, he has been knocked out in these big fights, and he's proven that necessarily he hasn't been able to rise to the occasion. Rolly, 16-2 in his young career, 13 wins by way of knockout. His 2 losses both came by knockout as well. Gervonta Tank Davis, Isaac Pitbull Cruz. His last fight, September 14th against Manuel Jaimez, unanimous decision. When it was a 10-round fight, won 9 of the 10 rounds on all 3 judges' scorecards. Looked fine, I guess. The biggest thing with Rolly is he's looked scared to throw. it looks like he's turned gun shy, especially after that Tank loss. He's turned gun shy, uh, and it seems like he's not relying on his power. And I'll talk about his power necessarily hasn't traveled with him as he's moved up the weight classes. 135, hey, he had power. Even Tank said at the time he was the hardest puncher he's fought. Like Rolly can crack. At 40, he wasn't able to do much. Now at 47, we're going to have to see. I think that's a huge point in this fight because Ryan, again, has shown that he can get dropped. Obviously, Tank caught him in the second round in that mega fight, on the chin in the second round, and then with a body shot the seventh round. But he also got dropped by Luke Campbell a few fights before then. So if you catch Ryan with a good shot, heck, Devin even caught Ryan with a good shot and made him kind of back up a little bit. Ryan can be hit, but is Rolly going to allow himself to be open when he punches to hit Ryan? For Rolly, I think a lot of the times is he doesn't want to throw because he's afraid what's coming back at him. And with Ryan Garcia, you know the left hook, snap of a finger, it can come anytime. And for Rolly, he leaves that right hand down. It might be night-night for him. For this fight, we talked about it. What does Ryan Garcia have in his return to the ring? Obviously, I want to say ring rust might play a factor because you got to think about it. Even the last time we saw Ryan Garcia, he was out of shape. And again, it was whole different circumstances. He was drinking the night before the fight, all these different stories about before he got in the ring with Devin Haney. But we talk about the 3 knockouts all the time against Haney. If it wasn't for those 3 knockdowns against Devin Haney, he really could have been in a closer fight on the cards. Devin won a lot of those rounds, but Ryan was whooping up on Devin, if you understand what I'm saying. Technically, Devin was doing his good job. He was boxing Ryan in a very well-fought fight, and then he'd run into a left hook. That's Ryan's get-out-of-jail-free card. Ryan looked like, hey, for rounds, he was just like huffing and puffing. Geez, he might not even make it 12 rounds. So for him in this fight, hey, how's his conditioning going to be? How is he going to be able to ramp up to 12 rounds? Obviously, been out the ring. You got to think his last fight before then was the Oscar Duarte fight, where he fought a good fight, was able to knock out Oscar Duarte, a very tough opponent in his return fight after losing to Tank Davis. But again, what Ryan Garcia are we going to see? One that comes in shape, or left hand, left hook, ready to go, or one that's out of shape? I mean, what it looks like he's building into 147 comfortably, and it looks like he's taking it serious. So you want to say this might be the best version of Ryan Garcia. But again, out of the ring for a year, that might play a factor. We're going to see. I think it's going to be a very, very, very good version of Ryan Garcia. I don't know if it'll be his best version. I think if you're Devin Haney, you might be scared that the best version of Ryan Garcia might come in the rematch. If he gets past Rolly Romero, I think you let him get a fight at 147 in, and then fight only a few months later. He's already in shape. I think that could be the best Ryan Garcia. In the ring, though, is Ryan going to continue his shoulder roll? If you remember, Ryan started this against Duarte, really, and then did it again against Devin Haney. It's the worst thing I've ever seen defensively from a fighter. And I still don't understand how refs have allowed it in these 2 fights. Instead of doing the shoulder roll conventionally and kind of trying to avoid punches, Ryan damn near turns his entire back to his opponent. Not allowed, but he does it, and he's been able to get away with it, and it leaves the offensive fighter, the opposing fighter, like, what can I do? I can't just be punching his back the entire time. Eventually it gets to the point where that's what they have to do. But it's horrendous. Like Derek James talked about it. They've asked him, he's like, I did not teach him that. He just gets in the ring and does it, but you got to live with him because, hey, he's Ryan Garcia. He has ultra talent, but it's an awful move. And is he going to learn? Because every time he does that, I feel like immediately judges are going to be like, okay, this round is kind of leaning to the other guy because he's turned around. Like he's not throwing punches. Is Ryan going to break that habit of a horrific defensive move? Because at the end of the day, Ryan has all the offensive skills you can ask for in a fighter, but defensively, he does allow himself to potentially get hit. And this back turn, it's just not fundamental boxing like you would see with the Derek James fighter. Obviously, Derek James wants nothing to do with it. Like, don't attach my name to it at all. I didn't teach him it, making sure that's well known. But for Ryan, I mean, you got to think at some point, someone might try and land a shot around, hit the back of your head. Something could happen. So I want to see, does Ryan have the defensive skills to keep up with his offensive game, which is elite? His offense is elite in boxing. Can his defense? It doesn't have to be elite, but can it close the gap a little bit, if you know what I'm saying? Not so that he's just relying on only his offense, but he can get in the ring and he can make his opponent miss. He can hit and not get hit. I'd like to see that from Ryan Garcia. For Rolly Romero, I talked about being gun shy. Is he going to remain gun shy in this fight? Because if he is, then I think he might be a punching dummy for Ryan Garcia. You're going to have to take chances. Ryan might open up, and you're going to have to try and take advantage of that in this fight. If you're Rolly Romero, you just got to let your hands go. You got to trust the power is still there, and you can make a difference in this fight. You're not going to be able to win this fight hands up, trying to counter, just like throwing long range punches and getting out. You're going to have to throw combinations. You're going to have to get on the inside, get on the outside. For Rolly, he just can't throw these flicking out jabs and then long winding shots. He's going to have to mix it up. His footwork obviously needs to be better, but that's never been Rolly's game, so I can't ask him to do something that's never been in his game. For him, he's kind of got to slug it out with Ryan and hope he can catch Ryan with a shot. Again, I talked about Ryan shown he can get dropped. Can he get dropped? Yes. Can Rolly take advantage? I don't know. I really think the power for Rolly just is not translating up to these higher weight classes. Again, at 40, it hasn't been there. When he fought Ishmael Barbosa, the old man, he was not hurting that man at all. That was his, I believe, first fight at 40. And then he goes on and fights Isaac Pitbull Cruz, steamrolled through against Jaimes in his last fight. Again, like his power just hasn't been there at 40. And now you're going up 47 against Ryan Garcia, who I think is going to be stronger than ever, in great shape. I just don't know if Rolly can sit there and not throw punches. And then again, if he does throw punches, he might get countered, but you got to throw in this fight if you have a chance. I think Ryan will rack up enough points on the cards by just throwing shots at Rolly. If Rolly isn't throwing back, that Rolly's best chance is I got to try and knock him down or knock him out. And that's a dangerous game, but it might be the only game Rolly can play in this fight. For weight, how's it going to affect both fighters? Again, I think this is going to be a great version of Ryan Garcia. I think he's going to come in so well with weight. He's not worrying about being over, being too under. I think Ryan's going to be really comfortable at this weight. I think 47 is going to be his weight for, a few years at least. For Rolly, obviously it's going to be easier for him to make. Is it going to slow him down? You can ask the same thing about Ryan. Is it going to slow Ryan down? Maybe, of course, it might slow Ryan down. But again, I just think the power is the biggest thing in this fight. I think the power translates for Ryan. I don't know if it translates for Rolly. And that scares me the most in this fight. These two, they've had some history. They've sparred in the past. Obviously, the huge buildup for Ryan and Devin was, hey, the 6 amateur fights before that one, obviously, professional fight. So is any of this background going to matter in this fight? I truly don't think so. Because, again, the Ryan that Rolly sparred, totally different now. The Rolly Ryan sparred, totally different. That was a Rolly that was taking chances. This is a Rolly that necessarily isn't. Again, I want to see him take chances in this fight. For Ryan, he's always had the left hook. We know that. I want to see a more defensive Ryan in this fight. Offense is his way to go. But let's see your defense actually raise up a level here for Ryan Garcia. And maybe the $1 million question every time Ryan's in the ring: when's he going to land that left hook? That it's as simple as that. It's one of the most devastating punches in the entire sport. There's videos that he throws it so quick. It's like, did he just throw a punch? Everybody knows, and people always question for Devin Haney, how did you not know he was going to throw the left hook? That's all he's got. Right? Tank Davis said, all he's got is the left hook. Tank was prepared for it. Devin was not. So for Rolly, is he going to be prepared for this left hand? Because if not, it's going to be an early night. Heck, you watch that Devin fight Ryan had 45 seconds in. He might have been able to end that fight. He almost caught him with a knockout punch right there in the first 45 seconds on that left hook. For Rolly, you got to know. And for Ryan, everyone knows you're throwing the left hook. Can you switch it up? Can you throw a right hand, an uppercut? Everyone knows the left hook is coming. Can they stop it? That's one question. But if they do you have a game plan and can you adapt to throwing a different punch? I think that's just as important for Ryan. Necessarily in this fight, I don't think it's going to be the case because I do think that left hand is going to land. As my prediction is, I think Ryan gets him out before 6. I think Ryan gets him out in the first half of the fight. Again, I don't think Rolly's going to throw punches. I think Ryan can be there to get hit and maybe do some damage. But even at 147, I don't think so. Ryan's not killing himself to make weight. His legs are going to be better under him. Again, I think this is going to be a scary Ryan Garcia. And again, I'm not banking so much into him beating Rolly Romero, but for him coming back from a year off, and if he gets a knockout within the first half of this fight, a statement has been made. You got to think, say Devin gets past his fight. Hey, this is going to be a heck of a rematch in April. I definitely think Ryan's going to get past Rolly. For me, I think it's got to end early. I think Ryan connects with the left hook. I think Rolly stumbles, Ryan pounces on him, and he gets the job done in Times Square. I think it's going to be a great performance from Ryan Garcia. I know he's a polarizing character in boxing, and he's done a lot of bad things that, hey, we should not accept. But unfortunately, this is the sport we're in. This is the sport I love to cover. The sport I assume you love to watch. And he's a star in the sport. And we're going to be tuned in. And I think we're going to be tuning in to a Ryan Garcia domination win. First half KO win against Rolly Romero, as he's going to set up that rematch with Devin Haney. It seems like he is just on a straight line path to getting that fight against Devin Haney and showing the world again, okay, that Austrian, whatever. I can whoop Devin whenever, wherever, on whatever, off whatever. He's on a mission, and I think Rolly's just in the path. And Rolly's best chance again, I'll say it again, he's got to throw. You don't throw, no chance at winning. Again, for me, I got Ryan Garcia. First half KO through the first 6 rounds. I think he gets Rolly out of there, and he sets up that Devin Haney rematch. This is what I think. Let me know in the comments below what you think is going to happen. What do you think about this Times Square card? Are you tuning in for this? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the Never Drop podcast. Hey, that's all I got for you. Peace. I'm out.